Editor Sbu Ngalwa, who joins us live in studio. Sbu, good morning to you. A month ago, we heard that former President Jacob Zuma's fraud trial was postponed for an inquiry into his failure to appear in Feb, and then we heard of June 23rd being a date. What's happened up until now?
Well, as you would know, that there was the warrant of arrest that was issued earlier this year when President Zuma failed to appear, and then there was an appearance on the 6th, but it didn't have to go to court because of the lockdown, and then that was postponed. The case was again postponed to the 23rd of June, but now you would understand that we are still in the middle of a lockdown, and the parties, and it's not of his own doing. You know that for the longest time, President Zuma has been going to court to try to get the charges against him dropped, but he has not succeeded in that, and actually indicated in April that he's ready to go to court. So the postponement from the 6th of May and the upcoming postponement won't be of his own doing, because the parties, it looks like they're still negotiating the possible start date of the trial. And as you would know that, I mean, if you go back to the Sheikh trial, it's going to be a long trial. It may take anything between 3 up to 6 months. So the parties still need to formulate that and to see if they have everything. And also, I think the other thing that is being discussed is the issue of technology, because when the original files were compacted, yes, or scanned, they were using a different technology. So you actually need that evidence anew, and also President Zuma also has a new lawyer, because he fired Dan Mancha last month or 2 months ago. So he has a new lawyer who also has to familiarize himself with the case.
Now, you've spoken to Eric Mabuza, and he's also speaking about how the defense and prosecution are still negotiating the possible start day for the trial. Are there any other indications that he's given to you regarding this matter and where they're standing?
No, it's actually just to say that the trial won't be continuing on the 23rd, because obviously there are still issues of lockdown, actually. There are issues of travel restrictions, and this was meant to be happening in Pietermaritzburg. So you actually, it would mean that you have all the parties who have to assemble there. So there's the logistical element, but also there's the part of the start date. So Mabuza says that they are still in negotiations. They didn't yet finalize the date, because we understand that Zuma says he's ready to start this year, but the state would prefer a date in the first quarter of the new year. So those are the nitty-gritties that they are finalizing, and also from what I understand that there won't even be a physical appearance on the 23rd. I think the NPA will still confirm those dates, but as Mabuza says, the negotiations are still ongoing.
How did we get to this point? Because we also saw how the former president was speaking about his health, saying that he's unable to come because of health matters. What happened to that? Look,
this is one of the longest drawn-out legal cases in post-apartheid South Africa. Jacob Zuma was first charged in December 2007, and then there was the dropping of the charges that was done by the then acting National Director of Public Prosecutions, and then the DA went to court, and those charges were reinstated, and then we heard in 2018 that the NPA was ready to go ahead, and then there was that back and forth court action where Jacob Zuma wanted a permanent stay of prosecution, saying that he did not believe that he would get a fair trial. Now, after all the attempts failed, and then his last attempt, he went to the Constitutional Court. But before the Constitutional Court could decide or could rule on that application, he actually withdrew it to say he's ready to go to court. That coincided with him firing Dan Mancha as his lawyer. So what it tells us is that within the Zuma camp, it looks like there's a new focus, and that his team now is determined to go to court. Hence, there's even a push to say, let there be no more delays in this particular case. And I think that for South Africa, and also for Mr. Zuma, and also for justice to be seen to be served, this case needs to get underway and be concluded.
Amongst the hiccups was Thales also saying that they have an application to the Constitutional Court, and also another reason for one of the hiccups was an inquiry into, I think it was Section 170 of the Criminal Procedure Act. Within the mix, I mean, how do these two aspects further delay this matter?
Actually, Mpho, you're raising a very important point, because Mr. Zuma is not charged alone. There's a French arms company, Thales, which is accused of having paid that original 500,000 rand bribe that was central in the Shabir Sheikh trial. So obviously, they are separate entities, they are separate parties serving different interests. And one of the things that has actually led to the delays is that they are also looking for particular information. So they will be asking, for instance, the NPA for particular information relating to their case so that they can prepare, and also Zuma's team as well needs to also solidify their own case. But they may be on the dock at the same time, but they are separate entities serving different interests.
Let's leave it there for now. Of course, bringing us the very latest there is our politics editor, Sbu Ngalwa, just speaking about former President Jacob Zuma's corruption trial, which has